I'm not a lawyer, but y'all heard about the situation that happened at a Texas track meet last week? The overview is that after some sort of altercation, this 17-year-old student, whose name is Austin Metcalf, lost his life after being fatally stabbed at a track meet by this 17-year-old high school student, whose name is Karmelo Anthony. Now, there are a lot of reports about what happened, but I just read through the arrest affidavit, so let's go through some of the police officers' reports to walk through what they say happened. So it was Wednesday, April 2nd, and a call went out over dispatch about an incident at the school stadium. One of the school's resource officers, Officer Cortez, goes to the area, and when he gets there, a man points out Karmelo Anthony as the suspect. Officer Cortez walks over to where Karmelo Anthony was, but there's a chain link fence between the two of them. Officer Cortez tells Karmelo to put his hands in the air, and at this point, according to the report, without being asked any questions, Karmelo says, quote, "I was protecting myself." Karmelo and the officer then walk along the fence until they get to an opening, and when they do, the report says that Karmelo says, quote, "He put his hands on me." The officer then pats down Karmelo looking for any weapons, and after not finding any, Officer Cortez says over his radio that he has the alleged suspect. And at this point, according to the report, Karmelo says, quote, "I'm not alleged, I did it." Karmelo, no more talking. Okay? Around this time, another officer arrives to the scene, and she and Officer Cortez walk Karmelo to the squad car. The report says that Karmelo is really emotional, and he says, quote, "He put his hands on me, I told him not to." Karmelo is then put into the car, and officers notice some blood on his hand, so they take some pictures, and while he's waiting in the back seat, Karmelo says, quote, "Is he going to be okay?" Karmelo is then transported to the jail. He's changed into jail clothing, and his clothes are put into an evidence bag for the investigation. Now, the next report is from Officer Allison Ricci. She's the one who arrived on the scene when Officer Cortez was with Karmelo. Officer Ricci's report is pretty similar to Officer Cortez, but one addition is that she says while she and Cortez were walking Karmelo to that squad car, he asked if what happened could be considered self-defense. The next reports from officers kind of detail the scene being secured, crime scene tape going up, and officers beginning to search for the weapon that was used. One of the witnesses on the scene directs an officer to where they say the weapon had been tossed, and when the officer finds it, it had started to rain pretty heavily, so they put up a tarp to protect the knife from the rain, but also being able to leave it in place. Okay, next, officers begin detailing what witnesses say led up to the stabbing. One witness told an officer that he was sitting under the Memorial High School pop-up tent with his teammates. Austin, who again is the victim, and Karmelo, who is the suspect, were also both under that tent. Austin tells Karmelo that he needs to move out from under the tent, and in response, this witness says Karmelo grabbed his bag, reached inside, and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Austin Metcalf then proceeds to touch Karmelo, and then Karmelo said, "Punch me and see what happens." This witness says a short time later, Austin Metcalf grabs Karmelo to tell him to move, and that's when Karmelo reaches into his bag, pulls out a weapon, strikes Austin with it, and then Karmelo runs away. And another witness told an officer a very similar story. He says that Karmelo was standing under that tent, and Austin told Karmelo that he needed to leave the tent because he doesn't go to that school. Karmelo and Austin then have some back and forth, and then Austin stands up, pushes Karmelo to get him from under the tent, and that's when Karmelo reaches in his bag and gets the weapon. So that's what we know so far. Karmelo has been arrested. He is incarcerated and charged with the death of Austin Metcalf. Both Karmelo and Austin's family have made GoFundMes and made some statements. Austin's family says he was a bright young man with a great future ahead of him, a leader of men, and that his smile would light up the room. Karmelo's attorney, on the other hand, says that Karmelo says that this was self-defense and more facts need to be developed to figure out what happened that day. Karmelo's attorney says he doesn't have any reason to think that this situation was not self-defense. So those are the facts right now. Karmelo's attorney has asked that his bond be reduced. So we'll see what new evidence and information comes out. But overall, this is a really sad story. Have y'all been keeping up with this one? Word to the wise, don't talk when you are with officers. Say nothing.